Hi guys, I'm Ange for the Craft Time Studio, and today I just want to show you some different texturing tools that I use to put dimension to my clay. The first ones that I will introduce are the typical detail needles. Here are some sample earrings that I made. I cut out two colors of leaves with one darker shade of green and one a bluer shade of green. For the darker shade, I use a detail tool with a long pointy end. Then, I placed these slightly overlapping the blue-green clay and use a detail needle to draw long, thin lines. Whenever I use texturing tools, I try to make two different textures for it to stand out. I used my oval and circular cutters throughout this video so that you can also see the many different earrings that you can produce with only two kinds of cutters. And these are the results of the earrings once they are baked. The second one that I normally use for texturing are rubber stamps. Crafters often have these on hand, and I find them to be quite an interesting, not to mention an easy way of adding interest to the clay piece. So, once I have my main slab conditioned, I get some mica powder. You can also use cornstarch. I brush this on the rubber stamp to keep it from sticking to the clay. As I wanted the stamped image to be extra shiny, I also brushed the mica on the actual slab. If you really want it to be shiny, you can rub the mica on the slab carefully. Then, I position my cutter to get the image that I like. This turned out to be a cute slab, but it was really quite an easy project. The third way that you can add texture is by using a textured cloth, in this case, Aida cloth. Aida cloth is what we usually use for cross stitch. This was a scrap piece from a bigger piece that I was making. I used the number 4 setting to flatten my slab, and then I used the number 3 setting when rolling it out with the Aida cloth. Remember that you should not roll them out too heavily because the clay can get stuck to the Aida cloth. While the texture of the Aida cloth cannot be seen well in this video, if you look at the baked piece, you will see that the weave of the Aida cloth is also on the clay. The fourth tool that I use is this wooden bracelet. It already has texture in it, so it was just a matter of rolling out the design on the clay. I think this has a similar effect if you have a textured rolling pin. So I just rolled out the wooden bracelet carefully on the slab, and then I cut it using my cutters. Finally, the last technique that I want to show you today is using an embossing folder. Typically, an embossing folder is a plastic folder that has a design embedded on it, and this is used by scrapbookers. What I did was I opened the folder up, placed one side on my clay, and began gently rolling it out. Embossing folders have a ton of different designs you can choose from, so they're very fun to use. And that is it for my 5 usual texturing tools. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope that you can like and subscribe to the Craft Time Studio. See you next weekend. Bye!